Have you ever felt frustrated or challenged when trying to, on one hand, have a peace of mind and feel relaxed, and on the other hand, run after all the things that you have to do in modern life and the hectic demands? Well, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how you can translate the beauty and depth of ancient wisdom into very, very practical ways that you can really incorporate in your day-to-day activities, balance the two, and have even better success in whatever field you're in. My name is Olivia Pinto. I help freedom seekers create abundance and harmony while living the life you truly desire. So, if you are a freedom seeker and you wish to have access to valuable information, tips and tools to create a life of abundance and harmony, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the little bell next to it so you'll get notified every time I post a new video for you. So let's look at modern life. Modern life requires a very, very fast pace. Okay, we have to do things and we have to achieve goals and so on. So we are in a hectic mode of doing, and we're rushing and rushing and rushing. We're overwhelmed most of the times, and we're quite stressed out. I call it our doing mode. And when we are in a doing mode, our focus is on achieving goals, on meeting deadlines, on executing plans. And of course, when we're in a doing mode, the mental aspect, the mental energy or mental activity is quite high, and we are focused on actions and activities. So on one hand, it's great because we can achieve what we want, but on the other hand, we are, without paying attention, we are trapped in a very, very dangerous trap, because we're so focused on being successful in what we want to do that we compromise the quality of life. We compromise having time for ourselves. We compromise slowing down. We compromise relaxation. We compromise enjoying the little things. It's like rushing in the street to get to a meeting, and I'm so focused on not being late when I get to the meeting, or even get there earlier, that I don't really appreciate the things that are in the way. I just go straight to the meeting. So there's a certain quality of life that we miss completely when we're trapped with the doing mode. And it can also impact our health, because when we're constantly mentally active and stressed out and rushing and rushing and rushing, it starts impacting the system. And stress is a very good foundation for dysfunctional health. Now let's talk at another mode, and it's the mode of being. And this mode of being is very, very well known and appreciated in the East. It actually very much comes from the East and is applied a lot in the East. And it's part of the Eastern philosophies and religions and traditions. And we have a lot of sages like Buddha or Ramana Maharshi who really taught us a lot about those states or this mode of being. And what this is all about connection. It's all about silence and being present. It's about aligning ourselves to our source and to who we really are. It's about being peaceful, being calm. It's about love. It's about being the observant, and so on. And so for those of you who are in constant doing mode, this may sound like a complete waste of time. Why should I invest some time in my day to just slow down and relax and go into my being mode if I can achieve another goal in the meantime? So for some of you, it may be a little bit ridiculous, unnecessary, but stay with me because you will see how much it can impact the success of your goals. And some of you may feel, yes, I know, I appreciate the importance and the beauty of all those ways and techniques and philosophies of the importance of relaxation and connection, but I just cannot fit it in my day-to-day activity. I really want it, but I cannot fit it in my day-to-day activity. So whichever part of the spectrum that you're in, it's very, very difficult to really practice being. when you're caught up in the trap of the doing mode. So it's all about balancing the doing and the being, and not just being caught up in something and trying to squeeze in the other one, or being all day long meditating and expecting that if I invest just 10 minutes of activities to achieve huge goals in my life, it's going to be successful. So it's really the balance between the two. To me, it's just common sense. You see, when you look at a coin, can a coin has one side? Have you ever found a one-sided coin? Of course not. Every coin has two sides. No matter how thin or thick the coin is, it always has two sides. So in our case, one side of the coin is the side of being, and one side of the coin is the side of doing. So doing, when we do and do and do and do without being, the results are that we're stressed out, that we're overwhelmed, that we don't have enough time, that we're lacking a certain sense of fulfillment because we're rushing from one task to another, and it can also impact our health. But on the other side, if we're in a being mode without acting, without doing much, then we're also under stress. Why? Because when we're not active enough, we don't achieve what we want to achieve. We don't have results that can help us. So then we start getting either bored or just unfulfilled, unsuccessful, and stressed out. For example, I can be very, very peaceful. I can meditate for hours during the day and be very peaceful and live a very, very calm lifestyle and love it and listen to the birds and listen to the waterfall and enjoy the sounds of nature. But at a certain point, if I don't have money, no matter how I love money or not, if I live in modern life and I don't have money, it's only a matter of time until it will start penetrating and impacting this inner peace that I have. And my ability to experience the sound of birds will not be the same. So we really need to embrace both sides of the coin. Let me ask you something. If you were to face a challenging situation, or if you were to make a very important decision, what do you think would support you more? To make the decision or to handle the situation from a place of stress and chaotic mind and overthinking, or from a relaxed place? What would help you focus more and be more tuned in to whatever situation, whatever challenge, whatever decision you have to make, to be able to focus clearly and see the wider picture, or to have the mind jumping from one place to another? Well, obviously, we need both in order to really win at a much higher level in whatever it is that we want to do. So it's really like an iceberg, right? We have this iceberg, and we can say that the doing is everything that can be measured, okay? Everything that can be video recorded or documented. So it's all the things above the surface of the water. The tip of the iceberg is our doing mode, versus the things that we cannot see. They're not as tangible, they're not as seen or measurable from the outside, is the surface, the things under the surface, like the most of the iceberg. So when doing emerges from a peaceful state of consciousness, or in other words, when doing emerges from divine intelligence, the doing becomes more efficient and our results are achieved at a much higher level. So in order to do that, we need to really blend the doing and the being. The silence within brings a new dimension and brings a new quality to our actions and to our outcome. When blending doing and being, when really embracing both sides of the coin, the silence within brings a new dimension and a new quality to our actions and to their outcome. All of a sudden, when doing emerges from being, we act from a higher intelligence. We act with a wider perspective. We see things more clearly. We can really operate mentally, emotionally, and also physically in our actions from a completely different place in terms of the quality of who we are. So it has a lot of impact on our actions. So doing supports our being, and being supports our doing. So how do we blend the two, the being and the doing? Well, let's first look at some concepts from the world of physics. If we look at archery, for example, when we have a target, we have the bow and the arrow, and we want to hit the center of our target, what do? We take the arrow and we pull it backwards on the string of the bow. And if we stop for a moment and observe the arrow, it seems static, it seems quiet, it seems as if nothing really happens. But in fact, it stores a lot of potential energy. And as soon as we launch the arrow, this potential energy is converted into kinetic energy, and the arrow fires in full power to hit the target. So whether I want to pull the arrow backwards in order to send it as far as possible forward, or let's look at another example. If I want to touch the ceiling and the ceiling is above me, then I can pull the hand and really stretch and stretch and stretch, or I could go down, which is the opposite direction. I could go down to hold a lot of potential energy and then to actually reach much higher. So again, in this example, we're going backwards. In this example, we're going downwards. But in both examples, we're going the opposite direction. And it may sound a little bit counterintuitive. Why would we go to the opposite direction of where we want to go? When we go the opposite direction, the potential energy accumulates and accumulates. So then when we move into activity, it really comes with much more kinetic energy. So the results are much faster and much better and more accurate and reach further. If we stop and just look at this moment where the arrow is pulled back, it looks like nothing happens. The arrow seems like just being there. We don't realize that it's not just being there, it accumulates a lot of potential energy that then will be translated into moving towards the target. Likewise, when we are in a being mode, we're pulling ourselves inwardly. And on the surface, it looks like I'm sitting and doing nothing and wasting my time. But in fact, pulling myself inwardly allows to reach a lot of potential energy, allows to reach a certain source of intelligence and silence and source very, very, very deep, so that when then I go into action, I can reach my goals much farther. You see, the target is forward, our goals are forward, but in both cases, we really pull in the opposite direction in order to maximize the actions. So these are the laws of physics and the laws of nature, and they seem a little bit counterintuitive, which is why we tend to say it's a waste of time. I could have done 1, 2, 3 things in the meantime. But when you start blending the two, you see that the efficiency of your results and the work that you'll have to put in, the whole energy, the whole quality that you put into reaching your goals is increasing and increasing and increasing. So if you're in a doing mode and you're focusing mainly on one side of the coin, and you really want to start focusing on the other side as well, embracing both sides, then you need to learn how to increase the being mode. Okay, so being is all about focusing inwardly. It's going beyond the noise of the hectic mind that is just hyperactive most of the time. And it's going into the silence of pure intelligence. So if we look at the iceberg, it's like going from the tip of the iceberg towards the depth of the iceberg, and of course with the ocean around the iceberg. It allows us to gain more clarity. It allows us to really even be more intelligent. Why? Because, so let's say that you want to understand a certain concept, and you open a dictionary and you read the definition of this concept. You will understand what the concept is, but it will be much more limited to compare to what we have today. We can access through the world of internet. We can Google any concept, we can YouTube any concept, we can search anything online, and we will have so much more information and examples, and people speak about this concept and so on, way more than just a definition in the dictionary. So likewise, when we use our mind, it's as if we're using just one particular book, that no matter how good that book is, it's still just one book. Whereas if we go into silence and we get in touch with this pure intelligence, it's as if we access the internet of life, the internet of existence, and we can really pull out a lot more information and think with a more sophisticated quality to our thoughts. And tuning in also really increases the sense of well-being, which is why whenever we feel, you know, relaxed, we feel good. It's a good sense of well-being. And you know what? It helps us also make decisions and focus more clearly on what it is that we need to focus without the mind chatter, because we manage to quiet a little bit the mind and fill it in with potential energy that moves into kinetic energy that is much more laser focused to what it is that we need to do. And you know what? There is an added bonus, and it's that if at the beginning, when you were in constant doing mode, you felt that tuning in, slowing down, you know, relaxing and doing all those being mode is a waste of time, then let me tell you something. You actually save time by blending the doing and the being. You save time because the quality with which you do your activities, your thinking, your decision making, your planning, your everything that is either mental or external, the quality is so much better that you end up actually saving time and being more efficient with your time. So there are many ways of tuning in. There are many ways of applying ancient wisdom to being, and I will definitely share more with you. Right now I want to share with you one technique that is very easy to do, and you can do it with your eyes closed, and it's much easier to do it with your eyes closed, especially at the beginning when you're not so familiar with it, and eventually you can do it also with your eyes opened. And this is what I call noticing. Noticing is when you're just becoming aware of something and you notice it. It's like seeing a flower and just noticing the flower. You're just aware of the flower there. You don't necessarily need to do something about it. Just become more aware of the flower. So the same way that you can focus on a flower, you can also focus on something in the body. And noticing usually is extremely easy to do and helpful when we notice something in the body. For example, our breathing. If you pay attention, if you put both hands, one on your chest area and one on the upper abdominal area or right below the diaphragm, then when you, it's very hard for me to show you and to speak at the same time, but when you just breathe, you see your hands moving. And one hand will feel moving more than the other. So what you can do is just breathe into your hands and be aware of the movement of the hands. Just be aware of when is it that you breathe in and when is it that you breathe out. When is it that you breathe in and when is it that you breathe out. And if you do this for just 2 minutes, the more you do it, you'll be amazed to see that those accumulated 2 minutes during the day are so beneficial and so helpful. Of course, they do not replace consistent practice of daily meditation twice a day and so on, obviously, but they still have a tremendous effect on tuning in. And you can even do it before, let's say that you have an important phone call to make. Before you make the phone call, close your eyes, notice your breathing for 2 minutes, and then make the phone call. And I assure you that you will feel very differently in this phone call, both your experience and maybe the outcome as well. So noticing is a very, very powerful technique that you can apply. Imagine it's like looking at a black and white photo and you say, okay, I'm looking at it. Yeah, but are you noticing what is there? And all of a sudden, as you notice and as you notice, and as you notice what happens there, and as you pay more and more attention to just being there and noticing, all of a sudden the black and white starts changing and you start seeing colors. And all of a sudden you start becoming more aware of a flower or anything else that is there. So the same happens when you focus inwardly. At the beginning, everything feels black and white and nothing really happens there. But the more you stay there, the more you stay there, all of a sudden there are other colors and other qualities and other things that fill in that experience and really bring a lot of quality. And then with this quality, when we move from being to doing, wow, that is way more powerful. Noticing is just one example of a way of tuning in and being, but there are obviously many, many more practices. And that's why I prepared for you a resource that you can download for free, in which I expand a little bit more on the subject, but I also give you 5 techniques that you can apply in different times of the day that are really easy to apply and really very beneficial. You can download them for free over on my blog at oliviapinto.com/10 download. And once you click on the link, it will take you to my blog and you will see this video, and under the video you'll see a big green button. When you click on the green button, you will have access to the tips and practices of being and doing. Question for you: what do you do in order to calm the mind? How do you get out of the trap of the doing mode? Please write your answers and share with me in the comment section below. I would love to know how you calm the mind. If you like this video and you feel it added some value to you, please like it, share it with your friends wherever they are in the world, and make sure to subscribe to my channel. So thank you so much for watching, and see you soon.